The hidden risk of over-the-counter medicines.
I'd ask myself, do I want to sleep tonight? And the answer was always, well, yeah. So I would take the pill.
When I don't have it, I feel claustrophobic. I just feel like I can't breathe, I can't eat, I can't sleep.
Pharmacists on the front line are warning about the dangers of using some products longer than the guidance states.
Short-term use, maximum 2 to 3 days. Patients think that because you can just buy it from the pharmacy, they think it's safe. Safe short-term, but long-term implications.
Lives are being turned upside down.
I was up to taking 3 boxes, so that's 96 tablets per day.
When you've got a cold or an injury, or even can't sleep, for many of us, pharmacies are the first port of call. Over-the-counter medicines without the need for a prescription, can be a great way to get treatment without having to get a GP appointment.
They do come with guidance, including time limits for use, but there are growing concerns about whether we are seeing a rarely discussed dependency crisis in the UK.
Codeine is an opiate, and in the UK it's available without a prescription, sold over the counter mixed with paracetamol or ibuprofen, for short-term use for things like period pain or toothache. Abby was prescribed codeine following surgery. It's physically addictive, and she quickly turned to over-the-counter painkillers to supplement her prescription.
I decided that I would have a gastric sleeve operation. And after that, I was prescribed codeine for the first time. And yeah, it just kind of went downhill from there.
When did you realise that you had an issue when it came to codeine?
Kind of knew in the back of my head when I was withdrawing that I'd, got a physical dependence on it. But mentally, it took me a good year to realise actually this is overtaking my life now. It didn't take long for me to start taking more to get the effect because my tolerance was increasing so quickly. So I went from taking 2 every 4 hours as prescribed to very quickly taking sort of like 4, and then it would be 6.
So at some point you switched from prescription to just buying it over the counter in different places. Right. How did that happen?
There was 224 put on my repeat prescription. I would take those at my worst in about 2 to 3 days.
224 pills?
Yeah. I'd then have to get something to stop me withdrawing for the rest of the month, and that was where I would order online and I would buy over the counter in a pharmacy.
To kind of top up your dose, essentially?
Yeah.
How much were you buying?
I was buying at least 20 boxes a week, I'd say. I was taking so much that it was making me sick. I was very weak, I wasn't eating. I quit my job that I worked so hard for. I mean, I was working for the NHS for about 10, 11 years, and yeah, all that hard work had gone.
Abby showed me how she would travel around town to buy codeine.
It's basically going around to different pharmacies so as they don't notice you, so as they don't recognise you and refuse a sale.
In the UK, painkillers with codeine should only be sold from a pharmacy, 32 tablets, essentially 1 pack, at a time. There is a maximum 3-day guidance for use, and if pharmacists believe that the medicine is being abused, they can refuse to sell them.
So this is another one that I used to go to just here.
But for someone determined, there's an easy way around that: pharmacy hopping.
I had sort of a route that I would do around Gloucester. Some weeks I would need to go to Cheltenham, which is the town next to me, and sometimes I would go even further than that.
How much overall do you think you spent on codeine?
Oh gosh, thousands and thousands. I mean, I went into £8,000 worth of debt. In the end, I was using the money that I needed to pay my bills, my household bills, my car insurance. I was not paying them and spending it on codeine. So selfie light, laptop, I edit some videos on there.
Back at her home, Abby showed me her workstations, from where she started posting videos about her addiction and recovery, and found out she was far from alone.
That first video that you put up, what was the response like?
It was crazy. I think I got over 200,000 views on it. How does codeine actually make you feel? I've got a community of about 36,000 people now.
Abby is in recovery, using opiate blockers, and sees it as her duty to help those addicted and warn others of the dangers.
Anyone over the age of 18 can walk into a pharmacy and buy an opiate. I believe that it kept me in addiction for 3 years longer than I needed to be. I feel as though I've been given a second chance at life. That's how I feel, and I'm not going to mess this one up.
So codeine is it's an opioid-based painkiller.
Are you using it every day?
It's just going to mask the pain. It's not going to treat the underlying cause. Patients think that because you can just buy it from the pharmacy, they think it's safe. Safe short-term, but long-term implications. A pharmacist will need to intervene and ask you appropriate questions. They may need to know a little bit more about your medical history, any other medication that you're taking, why you're taking it, and just making sure that you get the right advice so that you take the medicine safely.
These medicines, like any medicines, there's benefits and there's risks. We do hear concerns from GPs around opiates and the codeine-based medications because that can cause long-term addiction. Someone might have to manage their pain for a period of time before they get their surgery. And if those surgical waiting lists are longer, then you're going to be having to manage your pain for a longer period of time. So I think it's a growing problem, but it's also a problem that affects all ages, and it also has different effects on individuals.
Today is the last day that you can buy over-the-counter codeine painkillers.
In 2018, Australia joined 25 other countries in banning over-the-counter sales of codeine medicines to reduce abuse and dependencies. In the UK, pharmacists we spoke to told us codeine mixed together with ibuprofen or paracetamol remains one of their biggest sellers.
When we talk about dependence, what we often refer to is when their body becomes reliant on something. Addiction, on the other hand, is something different, where the dependence or the need for a substance starts interfering in your usual day-to-day. People don't even realize what the harm that can come from over-the-counter medications until they have like a bleed, because it's not necessarily the pain medication, the codeine, that causes the problem. It's the other stuff that's also prescribed within the tablet, like paracetamol or ibuprofen, that can often cause the problems.
Some people metabolize codeine faster and get a bigger opiate high, a genetic roulette that makes addiction more likely. For people like Jamie, prescribed codeine after a car accident, the impact was almost instantaneous.
I had a massive warm sensation come over me, a fuzzy one, and it was it grabbed hold of me. Before I knew it, I was taking prescription tablets and also over-the-counter tablets as well. It took me over mentally, my whole environment. So I used to basically get up and run out the door because I needed to get to the pharmacies before they started to close. And then that went from me taking probably say 20 a day to where I was up to taking 3 boxes. So that's 96 tablets per day. So the consequences of taking that amount is you'll start to get a lot of acid. So I started vomiting a lot and I couldn't keep a meal down. From there I got a big ulcer in my stomach.
Jamie spent days in hospital, but when discharged, he'd returned to taking nearly 100 tablets a day. He says the effects on his stomach of all that ibuprofen sent him straight back to hospital.
It felt like there was about 20 guys kicking me in my torso and I froze dead. So basically, the ulcer split my stomach right the way down this way. Everything poured out into my stomach, so they had to clean all that out. They had to rebuild my stomach. I felt very small, insignificant, that's how I felt, because I was tied to that substance that took over every aspect of my life. My over-the-counter addiction cost me about £1,250 a month. In a sense, it was a catalyst towards my marriage ending. I decided to knock the over-the-counter medication on the head when I was laid in that bed, and I was nearly died. That's when I decided.
So, how big is the problem of addiction to over-the-counter codeine? Part of the issue is, well, we just don't know.
And there is a challenge in that the data that's available isn't joined up. The number of sales data, for example, what's sold over the counter, what's issued from the different pharmacies, is really difficult. There's different information that the pharmacies themselves, the individual businesses may hold in terms of their sales data. The information that's held by the wholesalers that supply the pharmacies with that information, and then being able to look that up nationally as a joined up data set is really difficult. As the regulator of pharmacies, we don't have sight of that data, we don't have access to that information. But if we did, and we were able to constructively help to empower the pharmacies and the people that we regulate to be able to provide better services, it would be really helpful.
In the absence of that joined up data, we commissioned a survey of UK adults and found 7 out of 10 have taken over-the-counter codeine. Of them, 1 in 6 used codeine for up to 9 days, longer than the 3 days on the guidance, putting themselves at risk of addiction. And 1 in 5 used it for longer than 10 days, putting themselves at more serious risk of developing an addiction. Combined, if extended across the UK, that would equate to over 10 million people. Painkillers containing codeine aren't the only over-the-counter medicine fueling dependencies. Over the past year, I've been reporting for ITV News on over-the-counter nasal decongestant sprays, specifically ones containing oxymetazoline and xylometazoline.
The first puff of it is, to me, the best. You can probably see how excited I am over a tiny little bottle. It's crazy. But here goes.
In January, I met Charlotte, who explained her 2-decade-long struggle with the sprays.
I'm just thinking I need it. It's probably how any other addict feels.
Now I'm back in Wiltshire to see how she's doing and whether she's still dependent on those sprays.
And also to tell her that since I began highlighting nasal spray dependency, the official guidance has been revised.
Hello, how are you? Lovely to see you again. How have you been? Oh, hello again. How are you doing? What's been going on?
I'm doing good. I'm still on it. I'm still using the nasal spray. I have been to see an ENT consultant since, and they put me on a 12-week programme with steroids. But I'm struggling because I don't get that instant relief, and I want to persevere and I want to solve it, but it is quite a hard step to take.
So you've taken active steps to try and overcome the dependency.
Yeah.
But it is a dependency. That's the issue, isn't it?
It is, and you don't get that same relief that you get with the over-the-counter one that I use. So kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place with it. I'm letting myself down and I'm letting other people around that are trying to help me with it.
Tell me about that urge and why it's so difficult to stop using it.
I think my biggest thing is when I don't have it, I feel claustrophobic. I get anxious, and if that solves it within 5 minutes, I'm going to use it. It's just an easy way to solve it for me. When I've tried to stop it before, I've just got really anxious. I just feel like I can't breathe, I can't eat, I can't sleep, and it's uncomfortable.
The MHRA have announced that they are changing the recommendation for the maximum usage time for these nasal sprays from 7 days to 5 days. What is your reaction to that?
I mean, it's good that they're taking a step, but I don't think it's really going to make a difference because realistically, who reads the leaflet? It's a decongestant nasal spray. It's nothing major. But also, I don't know how they're going to monitor it, because you can go to the supermarket, pick it up off the shelf, go through the self-checkout, no one says anything. So I'm using it about 5 or 6 times a day. I'll spray 3 to 6 times each nostril. The amount that you get in the bottle, it just seems a bit excessive for short-term use.
There's no official data on overuse of nasal decongestant sprays, but ENT consultants like Sean Carey in Newcastle say they regularly see referrals and help people try to come off the sprays.
This is something that we see quite a lot of, actually. These medications decongest the nose initially, but the more you use them, unfortunately, the more you need to use them, and they become less useful as time goes on. Trying to stop immediately is associated with a rebound effect, so that the nose becomes incredibly stuffy. They really have difficulty breathing through the nose, and they carry on using it because it's very helpful for them.
After checking there's no underlying cause, consultants offer a simple solution.
Most ENT surgeons would advise starting a nasal steroid spray. It is worth discussing with their GP perhaps. One might think of pregnant patients, but also patients who have conditions like cataract or glaucoma. Specialists are not quite so keen for these patients to be on any form of steroid preparation.
An Ipsos survey we commissioned suggested that an estimated 5.5 million people were potentially exposing themselves to dependence.
We know that people manage pain or colds with medicines, but there is another common issue in the UK, and that is sleep. And there are over-the-counter medicines available for that too. The active ingredients are usually H1 antihistamines, essentially anti-allergy medicine with the side effect of making you drowsy.
Unlike codeine, which can lead to addiction, and nasal sprays, which can lead to physical dependency, with sleeping pills, tolerance builds up quickly and can lead to strong habit-forming psychological dependence.
I felt stressed all the time and I couldn't sleep. It sent me a bit crazy. It was a terrible experience. I think it might have been like 4-ish months. As soon as you have a bad night's sleep, it's almost like everything is impossible. Everything feels like a task. Everything's annoying. It's almost like your eyes hurt. So I went down to the pharmacy and I asked, what can I take? And then they said, try this Nitol, which is the active ingredient is diphenhydramine. So I started taking that at 50 milligrams, and that works. It became a routine very quickly, and a conversation in my head where I would sort of know in the back of my mind, I probably shouldn't be taking this every night. But then I'd ask myself, do I want to sleep tonight? And the answer was always, well, yeah, I want to feel good for tomorrow. So I would take the pill. They said to take it for 2 weeks, and I ended up taking it for 6 months straight, every night. I decided I had to come up with a plan to get off of these pills, but at that time I had become kind of mentally dependent on them. I only have one, so I don't have too much caffeine before bed. I decided to employ tapering. Say I'm taking 50 milligrams. The first thing is I just took 25 milligrams, so that was 1 pill. And then from there, I started just shaving little bits off the pill. I had a little cheese knife up next to my bed and I'd just take a little bit off. Until it was like a little stub of a pill, I just had to find new ways to deal with it, including lifestyle changes as well. I made sure I was eating more healthy foods. I made sure I'd see the sun in the morning, go out for a walk. And then I started focusing on something called sleep hygiene. I've always got these in front of my desk, my blue light blockers. I wouldn't wear them now, but come later today, I'll put these on. It's kind of cleaning up your act before you go to bed. So you're not looking at your phone, in bed. You're not looking at your phone just before bed.
With a child on the way, Jake is determined to keep his good sleep habits medicine-free.
It's just made me value my health so much more.
Antihistamines that enter the brain and block the action of histamine have the effect of sedating you and therefore can be useful as sleep aids. I'm really worried about them because they block a receptor called the muscarinic receptor in the brain and the body. And long-term blockade of that receptor significantly increases the risk of cardiovascular disease and dementia.
Dr. Selsick recommends treating the cause of the insomnia, not just relying on medication.
For occasional use, they're absolutely fine, but my real concern is that people are often using these long term, and there is a better alternative in the form of cognitive behavior therapy for insomnia.
In our survey of people using sleep aids containing H1 antihistamines, of sleep ease users, almost 1 in 5 used it beyond the guidance period. For Nitol, around 1 in 6. And over a third of Phenergan users exceeded the 7-day recommendation. In total, 1 in 5 users of these common brands exceeded the guidance, putting themselves at risk of dependence. Of course, all the medications in this investigation are also available to buy online, and people can digitally pharmacy hop between different websites.
There have been some studies which have looked at a range of different studies and brought them all together to suggest that, 7 out of 100 people at some point in time will have a dependence on over-the-counter medications. It's an incredibly common thing, and people shouldn't feel alone about it. And what's the one thing that people struggle with regards to healthcare right now? It's access. It's waiting times. It's you're not able to access the care that you need in a personalised way. We just need to be careful about, when we're trying to reduce harm on one side, the unintended consequences of reducing access for people who are then left with fewer options.
What is notable is that every single expert we spoke to agreed that there is widespread dependence on some of these medicines, but a frankly shocking lack of official data on the scale of the issue.
We raised these concerns with the Department of Health and Social Care. They said drug and medicine addiction and dependency can have a serious impact on individuals, families, and communities, and this government is committed to supporting those affected. All over-the-counter medicines are kept under continuous review, and action is taken where evidence of harm emerges, including updating packaging and safety information or changing how medicines are supplied. The Consumer Healthcare Association, which represents brands, told us OTC medicines play a key role in helping people safely manage common conditions when used as directed. It is important that people read the safety information on the packaging and in the patient information leaflet and take medicines as directed. Anyone who is unsure should speak to a pharmacist who can offer expert advice. When it comes to OTC medicines, it's a really difficult line to tread. The need to balance easily available medication, which really can help, against protecting people from dependency or even addiction.